Hey, everybody. Let me know if you're here. I thought that I was not going to be able to do this today because we've got high winds and the internet. I lost my signal, but I think I'm back up. So I'm trying to check on my phone to see if I can see it. Good. Hey, Destiny. So that lets me know that I'm here. Good. Thank you for letting me know. Y'all let me know how you're doing. Did you get bad weather? We have a lot of wind, like really gusty wind that keeps coming through. So if I lose y'all, it's probably because the internet blinked on me. Hey, Marla and Deborah. Glad to see y'all. Hope everybody's safe. I'm excited to show you a few things today. I have been knee deep in preparing for next week's Child of the King. And my table is a hot mess. So I thought that this would be a good opportunity to show y'all what I do to help myself get reorganized with my creative supplies, because once I start getting overwhelmed, then it's like I have a freeze. I freeze up and I just end up spinning my wheels and wasting my time. And I know that for many of you, I've heard from you that you're busy and it's not always easy to create. It's not always easy to find the time to use your creativity. And I know for a fact, for myself, if I can have my supplies within reach so that I can easily get to them, and I know I talk about this all the time, I'm more likely to be able to create. Okay. So there's one more step I wanted to share with you with that process. So I think I've got everything pulled up. So the two things that I want us to do today is to talk about not only organizing our supplies, but also organizing our inspiration. Have you ever thought about that, of organizing your inspiration? And then I have a few tools, supplies that I want to do a comparison, because my assistant and I were talking about it of, is there a way that we could have some comparisons as far as a cheaper alternative for some of the different supplies that I use? Because art supplies can be expensive, but if you know how to use them, then they'll go a long way. But sometimes we don't know how to use them, or we have the supplies and we forget we have the supplies, so we don't use them. But anyway, so I thought we'd spend a little bit of our time today talking about supplies, and let me show you a few of the things that I purchased. Hey, Esther and Deborah and Brenda. So y'all let me know. Hey, Sherry, I see you too. So think about your supplies, and if you'll just let me know in the comments, what struggles do you have with your supplies? I would love to know. And then we'll talk about it and see if I might have a few little tips that might help. So let me see if I can add my other camera. I had to start over. The internet blinked and I lost everything, but I'm glad to see it's back up. Hi, Tony. Hope you're doing well. Is everybody good from the storm? Did you have damage? Hope everybody's doing well. Okay, so I'm working on the journal, the project that we'll have next week. If you've not signed up yet, I want to encourage you to. It begins on Thursday, and we'll have lessons all the way through Monday. And so here's what we're doing in case you've missed any part of this. I love making these journals, and they're kind of like framework for me, to a place to put the things that I'm learning. And I don't know, it's like a record, and that's what I keep calling it all the time, of being a record keeper, of putting these truths and encouraging words and phrases and quotes and scriptures into a place so that it becomes like a record, like a scrapbook, like a spiritual scrapbook, that we can record these things so that we don't forget. Because I don't know if y'all have noticed, it's those important things that are the things we forget. And I have a very, very good example of all of that. So yesterday I realized that we were out of some of the paper that I needed to do some traceables, and we had hurricane warning. I mean, all of these tropical storm, a lot of bad weather was coming our way. And I thought, what if the power goes out? What ifs? So I stopped what I was doing and looked to see if I could get some of the paper that we needed. Usually I order it, to see if I could get it from Michael's, which is in Auburn. And if y'all are familiar with where I live, it's in the town next door. So it takes me about 20-30 minutes to get over there. So they had it. So I placed my order, and keep all of this in mind. The only reason I was going to Michael's was to get the paper that we needed. Okay. So I drive all the way over there. And while I was in there, I thought, I wonder if they have, I don't remember now what it was. So instead of stopping to pick up, the reason I was going was that online order, I looked at something else and I paid for it. Got to my car, I left, got all the way home, and was about to start back recording. I'm working on day 4 or so. I'm almost finished with our lessons, and realized, y'all, I did not pick up my order. And that was the entire reason I was going. I forgot to get the important thing, the order. That was the only reason I was going there. So that's a simple illustration, but on a spiritual level. And, our life is, we're spirit, and then we have our body, and then we have the kind of tickle again, spirit, soul, body. It's all connected. It all affects each other. So it was just one more reminder about the importance of remembering those important things, but setting ourselves up to be able to remember those important things. I went there without a list. I just was in a hurry because they were closing things, and I was trying to get there and still forgot the reason I went. So can anybody relate to that? Okay, so this is good. Thank you, Sherry. So I asked the question, what are the things that you struggle with your supplies? Because I want to talk about how we can organize those, not just the supplies, but our creative ideas, because those get lost. Just like I hurried to get to the store because I felt like they were probably closing early. I ordered online to make sure I had it, and got there, and I didn't pick up my order. I did something else instead. It's so, I don't know. It's just how it lined. It's just one. It was a reminder of, and I do this every day with spiritual things. So let's see what y'all are saying. So Sherry, with her supplies, she's looked at all her watercolors and online at Hobby Lobby and Michael's, and I don't think I can find any close enough, hoping I can get them in time if I purchase your paint dots today. Okay, so, all right, so let's talk about that. Deborah says, I do many crafts that need some of the same supplies for each. How do I store them for projects? That's good. Store each like supplies together, or store for each unfinished project. The rain has now lessened and the wind is calmer after 100-year flooding. Deborah, remind me, are y'all in Georgia? Sandy does that. Thank you, Sandy, for helping me feel better. making them available in a very small space. That's a good one, Deborah Owens. Susan, feeling overwhelmed with too much. Sometimes I shut down. I do that as well. So let's see if we can address some of these. And because I want us to, and I know this might sound funny, but be productive creatively. Be a productive creative. How does that sound? Sandy keeps lists where I'm going, what I need. I store the projects together and have a list of items that are in another project container. That's very organized. I love that. I love it. Okay, so y'all keep putting yours in here, and let's see if we can address them. And then y'all are more than welcome to share any ideas that you have. Okay, so I'm going to go top to bottom. Okay, so Sherry was looking at her supplies, her current supplies for this upcoming Child of the King project, and realized that she feels like she doesn't have the right colors for this project, and she's trying to figure out if she orders, could she get it in time. So let's look at that, okay? Because that's one of the things that I wanted to cover. And I think you're going to be okay, Sherry. So let me show you my table, and it's okay if you laugh, because I have spent this whole week working on our lessons in between jumping up and down, taking care of other things. And I'm just going to be honest with you. In all the years of doing the craft shows that we used to do, I would hear one or two things the most often. So the one thing that I would hear very often is they would look at my artwork and say, "Oh, it's so pretty. I wished I could write like that. I hate my handwriting." Or they would say, "Oh, it's so pretty. I don't have a creative bone in my body. I cannot even draw a straight line." So I would hear that a lot. And so that is what fuels my need, that desire to show women that you are creative. You just might need some help uncovering that creativity, or you might need some help learning to use that creativity. So that's why I do what I do. The other thing, though, that I would hear quite often is, it must be nice to be able to paint every day and do the things that you love every day. And sometimes if I was really tired, I wouldn't respond very nicely. Not that I was rude, but, well, I don't know. I don't get to paint every day. I don't get to do the things I love every day. That's not the life of an artist. It's not. It's hard. It's hard. Believe it or not, we have to carve out time to be creative also, even if we're an artist, even if we're a professional artist. And that might sound disappointing, but what I've been doing in my projects for next week, I should have been able to do the whole thing in one day, but I've not been able to do that because there's many other parts of having a business that I'm constantly having to stop and take care of. So it's taken me all week to put this together, and I still don't have it quite finished. And I have a huge mess on this table because I have to stop and start a lot, like many of y'all. So it's like I have a job, the business is my job, but then I get to do this creative side. So I have to find time to do that. So think about that. So you might be able to relate to my messy table, or whenever y'all hear me say, "Well, I can't find my scissors. Where did I put my scissors?" I'm always looking for my scissors. There's things we can do to help us. So let me get the top going. And y'all can keep putting your thing in there tell me either about what dilemmas do you have with your supplies, because we want to talk about how can we organize them so that not just so we can be organized, but the goal would be to be productive with our creativity. Okay, that's the goal. How can we be more productive so that we can, not just be creative, but where we're not spending our time circling around looking for our supplies to the point we get so frustrated that we've lost the joy in it, or we don't even enjoy it anymore. So I cleaned up this little bitty section right here. I wish there was a way I could show it to you bigger to see it. So let me see if I can do it without making you dizzy. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is one side of my table. There's my little thing. I have to keep everything handy, and then it still gets buried. There's my computer. These little things here are these nice little clear trays with the drawers that I should be able to easily pull my stuff out. But guess what? I get stuff in front of it, so then I can't pull my drawers out. Then I've got my water. I try and keep that handy. Then I bought these cute little silicone things, and those have been really helpful because I try and limit what I put in here to what I'm working on at that time. And then I'm trying really hard to use those drawers for my extra supplies. So let me move this so you can see the other one. See this one? I saw that some ladies at Christmas craft camp have these. So this way I can have my pencils that I use the most really handy, because what I was finding is once I'm working on this table, so this is how my view looks. So once I'm working on this table, then I can't get to my drawers. They're nice, but I can't get to them. So this is a big step that I've taken, and it has really helped me. Okay. And then the next thing I want to show you, because see, I've got stuff stacked here. I've got a little stacker right here. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's got drawers, and I have them labeled. This is my bling drawer. So I only have buttons and bling in there. This drawer right here is my hymnal pages and book pages. Then I have a drawer of just adhesives, because that was the other thing I was spending so much time trying to find. And it's in that drawer so I can get to it easily. Then let me see if I can turn you this way. This thing has also been a lifesaver. So this is something, I think I got it, I don't know, I've had it a long time, and I used it at craft shows. So this is where I keep my matte medium, my gloss medium, all of those kind of things, Mod Podge, my spray adhesives, and white paint, because I'm always needing white paint, and that way I can get to it easily, and this little thing turns. Okay. This over here probably needs the most work. This is a little bucket thing I found at the dollar store, and I put all of my extra paint brushes in here. So I have them organized in a way that makes sense to me. But what I do before I start my project is I go ahead and decide on my brush, and I get it out of there. These are paint colors that I use on almost every single project I do. So that's the stuff I try and keep handy within arm's reach. So now look, don't freak out. That's paint, and I have it organized by color. And then this is paint. See all that? But I have it organized by color. This is the paint that I use for my canvases. So this is house paint. A lot of it is house paint. And I'll use this to paint the base of my canvas. And then I've also got this cube thing, and that's my artist grade paints. Most of that is, and it's organized by color. But see that canvas right there, that blue canvas? that's whenever I'm painting stuff like that, I'm using this kind of supplies. Does that make sense? Then I bought this little thing right here. It's a black cart, and this has been a lifesaver. So you can't see it as well right now because I've got some of the stuff I want to show you stacked up. But see this little container here? It's just a plastic, it's an acrylic container. I have to have things that are clear. I have to be able to see my stuff. So these are those not Neocolors. These are the gelatos. So I've got them all together right there. These are those they're all similar. So those are the Jane Davenport ones. And then here's the Woodies. So those creamy wax pastels are right there together. Then when you look down here, this is my inks, my Neocolors and markers, and then there's more down there. So this is where I store them. Okay. Now I'm going to turn you around and show you something else. Okay. I may need to clip this. Let me clip it to show you this part because I like organizing it in the ways that I just showed you. But when I'm working on a project, I really don't want to have to get up and get something. So I start pulling my colors. And we talk about this a lot. But I just want to tell you that you can, whenever I say shop your stash, that's kind of what I'm talking about. You don't have to have all of that stuff that I'm showing you. You don't need all of that. You really and truly don't. I have this because this is my business, but you don't have to have all of that, y'all. So repeat that after me. I don't have to have all of that. I have a business and I'm painting all of these things for different purposes. So I want to show you now with whatever you have, whatever your supplies are, I want to show you how you can organize it for your project so that you can make the most of your time. Okay? Are y'all with me? I see somebody asking about the silicone trays. Awesome. I'm glad y'all are helping each other. Okay, Tony, that's right. So Tony's saying I've been turning empty powder tea canisters into holders for my Posca pens. And I have that too, y'all. I have that as well. I love the variety of paints and colors. I want more. My supply is limited, but will grow. Just still learning what I need. So Sherry, yes. So what you said in that is learning what you need. And I want us to talk about that because I have a lot of different things because I paint for licensing. And so they'll give me an art call with the colors and whatever is needed for that project. Otherwise, I wouldn't need all of that. What I would love for you to do is learn what your favorite colors are and work in the palette that you enjoy so that y'all don't end up with a lot of stuff that you don't ever use. That's what I'm trying to do in showing you the different supplies. I want you to know how to use them so that if you get, I don't know, just say if you get some markers for a project, those markers can be used for multiple projects. Does that make sense? Okay, so Joanne gave her watercolors away, but she still has the watercolor pencils, and that's awesome. Okay, don't know how to mix to create the different hues. Okay, so let's look at something. Okay, so I showed you my big, overwhelming stash. So what I want to show you is whenever, and I'm going to use the Child of the King project as an example. So often you'll see me show y'all, if we're working on a project, I'll give you a picture of my color palette. So this is the color palette for something. I think this was the fall. Oh, I was testing colors for fall. That's what this is. So just say I showed you this and I said, I'm going to be using these colors in this project. You don't have to have these exact colors. This is to give you an idea of the colors. It's very likely that you have colors that are close to this. So whether it's watercolor pencils like Joanne has, or I pulled these out because I don't use them very often. I bought them for a class I took, and I rarely ever use them, y'all, and I don't want that to happen to you. So these are liquid watercolors. So maybe you don't have the tube watercolor, but you have a liquid, or you have a watercolor pencil, or you have an acrylic ink, or you have acrylic paint. This is just to give you a base, a direction to go in looking at your supplies. So what if you really like this color right here and you don't have anything in that color? Then you can use this as reference to try and match it up. So does that make sense? Y'all tell me if that makes sense. Okay, so here's an example. All right, I think I've got this. So I want to leave my Post-it notes out because I want to make sure before I get off of here to show y'all about organizing your inspiration stuff. Okay, so for instance, if you saw one of these colors over here and you looked at all of your supplies and realized, I don't have that. So this might help you to be able to find this color whenever you are shopping. So usually I'll also tell you the name of the color. I'll usually tell you that color name, not for you to buy that, but for those people who do want to buy it. Okay, so now here's what I would do if I was looking for a specific color. And so here's an example. See this red right there? So what I would do, let me pull these out. This is how I get my project stuff together. So I know in the Child of the King project, I'm going to be using red. So I'm looking through my reds to see what I have. I've got this red ribbon. I've got these sequins. I'm even looking at my Tombows. What Tombow markers do I have in red? I'm not trying to match that exact red. I'm just pulling all my reds together. I've got a Neo color in red. I've got this acrylic ink in red. I thought I had another red out here. This is India ink in red. So I get it together and I put it in a clear container. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting it in a clear container. And why am I putting it in clear? So I remember I have it, because I will forget. All right, so I'm going to put that there. Another thing is I'm using yellow in this Child of the King project. So I've got yellow pencils, and I didn't do this to show it to y'all. I did this for me to help me stay on track, to help save time, so that whenever I need a yellow, I'm not having to dig through all of my yellows to find it. Okay, so Sherry said that she bought some red Rit Rack today. Red is one I have very little of. Okay, and see, you probably would not have known that unless you had started organizing your supplies. So when you buy a red, Sherry, be very intentional with it. Buy a red that you like. Susan said we don't have to have exact colors. Exactly. So Susan spent 2 years thinking about buying Daniel Smith watercolors, but I finally decided to get them something new for me. but I think it's important to take time for one medium and get good at that before investing in the next medium. It's hard not to buy everything, but it's fun to enjoy one new item at a time. Exactly. And you don't have to have the exact colors. Exactly. So, y'all, everybody that's watching right now, it says there's 24 eyeballs. If we were in the same room and we put all of our supplies out, we would all have different supplies, right? So it's using your creativity. Think about it. When you look at what you have and see, how can I use what I have to work for this project, and not if it's all in changing your perspective. I like what Sandy said. Every teacher has a favorite brand. I have just learned, not to get locked into their favorites, but to use what I already have. Absolutely, Sandy. Absolutely. That's what I also try to do, Pam, in organizing the different colors of my t-shirts and nice blouses in my closet so I can see what colors I wear. Tony, I do the exact same thing. So I just wanted us to have this conversation because I have a feeling that you probably have more things than you realize. And so what I have found that happens for me when I start organizing my supplies by color, it helps me see what I have. It also helps feed my creativity. It excites my creative heart to the point that I want to make stuff with this. I want to test things with this. So let me read Sherry's, and then for skin tone, will the buff dot watercolor be enough for this project? I don't have any watercolor pencils or things that come close for the skin. I've also been trying to prepare for this week once I received my kit. Yes, so I'll be showing y'all how to take that buff color there or any neutral color, and depending on your skin tone, if your skin tone is a little bit more yellow, then you can take that very neutral color. Because your yellows are organized, you can add a little bit of yellow to that. My skin tone has more pinks to it, so I could take a little bit of pink and add that to it to get a more pink tone. If your skin tone is darker, if you have the brown skin tone, you could use this and add some browns to it and kind of play around mixing it. There's so many ways that we can do it, and take the pressure off of thinking that you have to have an exact thing. And Susan, I'm going to brag on Susan Holly because she loves to mix colors and she's really good. And there's others that are like that who've been with me for a while. They like to experiment with colors, and they'll play around with mixing their colors to come up with their own color. So I want to encourage y'all to do that, not only to come up with new colors, but it helps you creatively to do that. Okay, so let me find my water. Hang on. Okay, I keep getting a tickle in my throat. Okay, so there's my yellow. Here's my green. Oh, I don't have it so you can see it. Here's my green. I didn't totally get all of those pulled out, but I think y'all get the idea of what I'm trying to work toward. I'm getting those colors that I'm using in this project together. So let me get that over here out of my way. So now what I want to show you is do a little bit of comparison. Let me get a blank piece of paper. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait. All right, so remember how I told you I want us to do this before I go to showing you the comparisons. So that's how we can organize some of our supplies as far as color. I want to show you how you can organize your inspiration. Okay. So I almost messed up with this. So this is a notebook. This is a mixed media notebook. And in it is where I do little sketches. I'll see things and I'll do little sketches to play around with because I might not have had time to do it. But if I go ahead and sketch it, then whenever I have a few minutes, I can pull this out and I can go ahead and add some color to it. Sandy, that's right. Y'all shop Dollar Tree. Check Dollar Tree. They have all kinds of good stuff. Okay, so this is an example of some inspiration. I was either reading in my Bible or I might have saw something. I don't remember, but somehow or another, this stood out to me. And I wanted to capture this. I didn't have time to actually finish it, but I wanted to capture it. So this is where I was just playing around with lettering it. I never came back to it to add color or do anything else with it. But this is valuable. Okay, so y'all just keep hanging with me for just a minute. Here's another thing. So I either saw this or heard this, jotted it down in my mixed media. You could call this an inspiration book, but have a specific book. Don't do like I have done, and I have like 50 different notebooks with all kinds of ideas and inspiration. Be organized. Have one book, and then when you fill it up, get another inspiration book. But I captured it. I've got it here. Okay. Now, here's another one. I want to hold this up so you can see it. Can y'all see that? Psalm 4:8. That's where this started. So somewhere or another, I heard this or I read this and thought, I really want to letter this. So I wrote that at the top. And then the next time I had a little bit of time, I came back to this verse, to this notebook, and I lettered it. I have not taken it a step further and added color or incorporated it into artwork, but this is where it started. Actually, it probably started on a Post-it note, but this is where I put it, and then this was my next step. Hey, Brenda, either one, whichever one you want to write in, it doesn't matter, either one. All right, look at that one, Micah 6:8. Eventually, I came back and I lettered it, but it started here, and then later I came back. This is really, really important. Okay, here's another one, Psalm 27:4. And you can see I haven't made the time to sit down and letter that one, but I grabbed it. There's something about that verse that spoke to me. I grabbed it before I forgot it, and I put it in my inspiration book. So what if it could even be a Post-it note? Just say that you heard something, I don't know, in a sermon or a song. Grab it by writing it down on something. So if you don't have your inspiration book, put it on a Post-it note or keep a small notebook in your purse that can be your inspiration, your small inspiration book, and then come back and jot it down. You'll be more productive creatively by doing this, because if you sit down to a messy table, you're going to be so overwhelmed by the mess. It's going to be hard to create. So then you spend all the time cleaning it up, getting it organized, and then you're like, now what? I don't even know what I need to be working on. But if you had a book, an inspiration book, to jot verses down or jot ideas down, or like that, even if ... God is still good. That's another one I wanted to letter. So this is where I put my lettering ideas, and then I take it from here, and then I'll make art with it. So think about that. Cheryl says, I do that a lot and post them around my computer. Now I need to put the verses in a notebook. Yes. So could we not? So look at this. There's one, I jotted it down, and this is where I started lettering it. This little book is full of those things. Another thing that you could do is taking this in a different, maybe you could do a different divider. There's one Psalm 118:24, Exodus 74:4. Look, there's tons of them. And I like the way I did it because I left a page blank, and that's my cue that, okay, girl, you need to do something with this. That verse meant something to you. So you could take it a step further. And so here's the first step. I captured it. Here's the second step. I lettered it. You could take it a step further. If there was a word in here, depending on your Bible, what is it called? I've lost it in my memory. Cross-reference. You know, some Bibles have cross-reference. You could go deep with this. You could look in the Bible, look up cross-references for this passage, and jot them down. And those could become additional creative inspiration ideas for your book, so that you never have to sit down at your table and wonder, what do I need to work on? Okay, so Sandy's already on this. She's got a small notebook in her purse. Perfect. You could use your phone. If you have a cell phone, take a picture of something. I have lots of pictures of different flowers and stuff like that in my phone, in my camera, that I know that I took a picture of that for a reason. What was I going to do with it? So that's another place I can go for inspiration. Okay, so now showed you that. I want to show you one more thing, and then I want to do that comparison. Okay, so let me see if I can reach this without turning my chair over. Hang on. So I've been working on my journal, recording the classes. So I'll end up with 2 books. So this is the book that I've been used. This is the one that I'm making for our workshop. And I've recorded the process of me making it. So with this, I just want you to see kind of behind the scenes. So I pulled all my colors together because I knew I was doing red. I knew I had green for the God section. And I've got those colors. I showed those to you. I also pulled book pages. And if you ordered the kit, you've got book pages in your kit. So while I was putting this together, recording it, I didn't have enough time to use all the book pages that I have, but I had ideas, and you'll hear me talking about this in the workshop next week. So one of the pages I had is this one. It's from the legal book, and we put a legal page in the kit, but this one really caught my attention. See it? It's Nazareth Hospital, and it's a bill, a doctor fee for $5 from 1967. So I was going to incorporate, so my idea was to put a tag, and I don't know where mine is, but this is an example. This is a tag. I was going to do a tag that says paid in full, attach it to this, and insert this into my notebook, into my work journal. But I ran out of time to show y'all that I was doing that. I was going to do that. And then I noticed the date. See, I like dates. I like numbers that are symbolic. This one is 1967. That's when my sister was born. So I thought this would be so cool for me to make something for her with this page. So guess what? If I don't write myself a note to do this, so the inspiration came. Let me do this. The inspiration came, and I didn't have time to do it. If I don't grab that inspiration and make a note, it's very likely I won't remember to do this. So here's what I wanted to show you. So I've got my Post-it notes, and that idea came to me. So I'm going to write a note for Tammy. Add tag. Okay. Originally, before I noticed the date, I was going to do this. I was going to say add to the Prince of Peace section, the Great Exchange section. That's what I was going to do. Then, so that's that section. And I was just going to tuck it in here so that when I have time and I want to do some journaling, I'm going to have pages now stuck in here that later, when I have a little bit of creative time, I can sit down with my journal and I can find these pages that I wanted to work on but didn't have time. And they're stuck already in the sections that I want to add them to. So that's just several ideas of how you can organize your inspiration into a little purse notebook, a mixed media creative notebook, or you can go ahead and add them to your journal. Y'all, this journal is very special. It's very special. It is as special as you want to make it. And I'm saying that because this can be a record of your spiritual journey, because we've got a section about the King of Kings. And it's not complete. This is an ongoing process. We're not going to, I think next Monday is our last day we're not going to have this finished. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to lay the foundation so that we can continue adding to it documentation of our walk, our process of who God is as King of Kings, who Jesus is as the Prince of Peace, and who I am, or who you are, as his child. So as you're organizing and cleaning up your supplies and getting things together, don't be so focused on having exactly what I have. That's going to take the joy out of the project, I think. Focus more on things that capture your attention, whether it's color. I love this green. This is one of my favorite shades of green. And I'm always looking, Sherry, I'm always looking for anybody else who's building up their creative supplies. I'm always looking for supplies in this color. Why? Should one supply be enough? You'll see in how I'm doing it with this journal. I'm going to show you how you can take this green in the ribbon, in pencil, in pen, in markers, in whatever, and use it in a page in your artwork to add depth and dimension or interest to. It's more than just a red robe of righteousness. It is a pretty color, isn't it, Tony? So just as you're getting your stuff together, getting your supplies together, just prayerfully look through what you have. And if you have a book page, and it's like those book pages that we put in the kit, they're like a treasure. So read through it, and if you see something that really stands out to you, take a pencil and circle it so that whenever you get ready to, or put Post-it notes on there, I read this and this is how I want to use this page. Because so we overestimate how much we can get done, but if you've already got notes on it, then when you get to this page, you've already done the hard part of deciding what you want to do with it. Is this helpful? Is this helping? Is there any questions about the supplies that that I haven't covered so far? Trying to look. Y'all tell me, is there any Tell me, is this helpful? And is there anything I didn't cover? Okay. So now let me show you something, because this has come up also about the supplies. And Sherry's thing about she's organized her stuff and was concerned that she didn't have the right colors. So let's talk about that, because Sherry, if you're feeling that way, other people are too. Okay. So I need to change my camera back so you can see it. All right, so this is how I got distracted yesterday, y'all. And I left Michael's without my order. But I was looking for something good. So the question had come up about the watercolors, or maybe, I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was something. It was something. Somebody was having a hard time finding something that I had, and was like, well, you don't have to have the exact thing. And then it got me concerned that I don't want y'all to spend a lot of money on the supplies so that it takes the joy out of even creating the project. I would rather be a good teacher and teach you how to use the different supplies. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I want to be my goal in teaching is to teach you how to use your creativity as a tool for stress relief, to help tell your story, to help strengthen your faith, and to make beautiful art. That is my goal. That is what keeps me doing what I'm doing. So in that, I feel like part of my job would be showing you how to use supplies. That's part of using your creativity. Whether you have this kit, which you're not going to have this unless you found it on eBay or something. They don't make this anymore. Or I'm looking for the ones I got. So while I was at Michael's, this is where I got distracted. I saw these Artist Loft water-soluble wax pastels. So y'all, that's what the Neo colors are. So Neo colors are described as water-soluble wax pastels. So I thought, I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy this and I'm going to sample it so that I can give you an accurate answer. Okay. So Brenda got these at Michael's. Okay, good. So okay, Sherry said topaz, autumn mystery, all the colors for this project, wondering how to come close using my supplies. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. So do y'all have time for me to show you this? All right, so this is the Artist Loft, and y'all, I can't remember how much it cost. Brenda, do you remember how much this cost? I was going to keep, and this is part of the reason we do the kits, because I would rather you try the supplies before you buy stuff, and this way you can try, we call them tools to test drive. All right, so let me get it over here. Hang on, am I coming? All right, so these are the Neo colors. These are the Michaels. I wished I could get this camera down lower, but I can't. All right, so here's a red. So I know that red is one of the colors that we're going to use in our project. Okay. Around 19. Okay. So this is, they have this red, they have this red, this one. They have 3 or 4 different variations of red in this. All right. So it looks different than the Neo color. Here's the Neo color red. So let me sample it for you so you can see. Okay. So these are the wax crayons, Tony. There's 24. Wait, no. Is there 24? Yeah, there's 24. All right, so watch this. All right, so this is what the Artist Loft looks like. This is what the Neo color looks like. So it looks similar, doesn't it, going down on paper? I'm going to call it Michaels and Neo. So Michaels is waxier. I can just feel it. It's waxy. Neo is not as waxy. Does that matter? Well, I don't know. Okay, here's some water. All right, so this is what happens when I add water to it. Okay, so I was able to get that smoothed out. So all of that pigment smoothed out. So that's good. To me, that's important that you can smooth it out. All right, watch what happens with this. That's Neo. Do you see much of a difference? The biggest difference I see is the pigment is more intense on the Neo color. And I think it's a little bit smoother. Let me get this color right here. I think this color. All right, so yeah, that color's closer. I should have used this one. Hang on. So I'm going to, because I've got something important to tell you about this. Wait. Okay, that's the Michaels right there. Okay, so, all right, what I'm trying to do is see if I can move it. Whoops. I squirted out way too much paper. I mean, water. Hang on. So, for the project we're doing, y'all, this is important. For the project, so to decide, yeah, the Neo, that's the biggest difference in the name brand and the store brand. The colors are more vibrant. Does that matter? That's the important question. Does that matter? So for the project that we're doing with our journal, does that matter to you? Because ultimately, you're the one that needs to decide that. It's my opinion that it does not matter. Is that color like a tomato red? It's a little bit more crimson. Well, sorry, Tony, do you mean the Michaels version? This is the Michaels, and it does look a little bit more orangey red. All right, so look, I'm giving you a sneak peek into, all right, so this is the one that I did in the lesson. I think this is going to be, I think this is on Sunday. I can't remember, honestly. So in this, I purposely used like 4 different things in this. I used watercolor, I used Neo color, I used the ink, I used several different things to demonstrate the different brands and how they're going to look. I feel like for this, I think it doesn't matter. If you're just starting and you just want to get the store brand, I think that's fine. What's Karen? Let me see what Karen is saying. The Artist Loft speaks the paper a bit more to get it smooth. You have to work more on the paper to get it smooth, I think is what you're saying. Whenever I'm painting something that I'm going to sell or I want to, that's when things matter more to me. But this is something personal for you and the Lord. So if you're just starting out, and I tried to do the same thing, you're going to see all throughout this journal, I'm trying to use a variety of things because I know that you all have different supplies. And I want you to be able to use I want you to use what you have. I want you to be equipped and have the knowledge to use what you have, or be able to figure out how to do it. Okay. Okay. It soaks, the Artist Loft soaks the paper a bit more to get it smooth. Yeah. So now let me show you another thing, because someone had asked me if I had a preference on the watercolor pencils. So let me show y'all that. All right. Let me move some of this out of the way. So y'all, this is a set that you can get from stores like, all right, y'all help me out. Where can you get these? Like Tuesday Morning, TJ Maxx. I don't get out much anymore, so I'm trying to think, where else can you get these? You can get these at a lot of discount stores for probably $10 maybe, and it has a wide range of colors. Something like this, Sherry, if you have something like this, this will work for your journal. This will work for your journal. And I'm sharing this over into the journaling group so that they can see this as well, because especially for those who are new and you don't have a lot of supplies, this is good to know. Okay, so these are watercolor pencils. I found these at Michael's, and this is the Strattler brand. It's not the store brand, and I didn't buy the store brand because I thought I had a few of theirs. There's the store brand. It will absolutely work for the journaling project, but I can't find them. Okay, stay focused, Pam. Stay focused. Okay, so look, if you have watercolor pencils, I don't remember who it was that told me they had it. They had watercolor, but they gave them away. Did you know that okay, Tony, this brand is Strattler. Let me spell it because I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. Straedtler. Maybe spell check didn't respell it for me. They are the ones that have nice pens and pencils also, the Strattler. So I was curious to see how their watercolor pencils were, because I like the vibrant colors, and so I typically use the Derwent, or I'm going to call this ST. This is Strattler, and that's red. So this is a Stabilo. Okay, can y'all see the difference? Let me hold it up closer. You see the difference? All right, so now let me get my water coming out. Watch what these are fascinating. You add water to it and it looks like watercolor paint. And you could do your entire journal with this. If you wanted to do that, you could absolutely do it. Okay, this is the Stabilo. I thought I had one of our others in here. The color is more vibrant. Is this one okay? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay, so let me show you one other. I just had it. This brand is, and I'm going to see if I can start carrying this one. This is Faber-Castell, and I think these are a little bit cheaper than the super colors that I usually get for our kits. All right, this is Faber-Castell. This is the company that makes the Pitt pens that a lot of us use. It's really pretty, isn't it? So this has more pink in it. This is really deep. And this would be a pretty color for cheeks or faces. All right. Now let me get the watercolor. I want you to see how interesting it is. All right, this is the watercolor. This is the cheap brand. And I'm trying to decide which one would be the closest to our colors. Okay, look. That's watercolor. These are the $5 or $10 watercolors. Isn't it fascinating? You can't tell the difference. You can't tell that that's a pencil. It looks like the watercolor. So Sherry, you have Posca paint pens and alcohol markers. You could absolutely use the alcohol markers. They're not going to work like this with the water, but you could use those to put the color down. Once it dries, then you could use the Posca pen to go, because the Posca pen is paint. It's like an acrylic paint, and it's going to lay on top of the watercolor. All right, so y'all, let me show you one other thing, and that is the ink. So I use the acrylic inks a lot in my artwork. They're really good for whenever we're doing mixed media art, because this is an acrylic. It's like an acrylic paint, but it's super duper thin and it lays on top. Isn't that a beautiful color? And I put way too much on there, way too much. But look at it. It's very opaque. It's not translucent like these. Which one is better than the other? You can't, it just depends on the project. It just depends on what you want to use it for. So you'll hear me say in the tutorial that these are like your friends. So they all have a different purpose. They all have different strengths. They all have different weaknesses. But it's just learning, getting to know your friends so that you know who to call on. Like if you had a flat tire, do you have a friend you would call to help you? Is there probably some friends that you have that you would never call to help you with a flat tire? It's similar. It's just learning the supplies. And so whenever I'm showing you how they work, I'm introducing you to my friends so you can decide, do you want to be friends with them? And if you decide, oh, I love the way that ink looks, you don't have to buy all the inks. Buy your favorite color, So y'all know that I love red. You know that I love that green gold. I can't even reach my green gold. But I usually buy things that are green, gold, red, and then there's a certain turquoise color that I really enjoy using. And so whenever I see supplies that are that color, I'll get that. And the reason I get, how to say this. So I have this color in watercolor paint. I have it in acrylic paint. I have it in pencil. I have it in marker. My husband's outside blowing kisses at me. But they all have different uses. Y'all tell me, is this helpful? Tell me if this is helpful. And then you have the red paper. All of that are tools for you to use. I didn't realize it was after 1 o'clock. Oh my goodness. How does it go by so fast? I didn't even show you the markers, but I think y'all get it. I think you get what I'm talking about. This is a red marker. So just look at what you have. If you have questions, this is the one this is a Crayola marker. You can even use your Crayola marker to color. Look at that. That's a pretty color too. See? And if I didn't have it labeled, you probably wouldn't know which is which. Isn't that so fun? So this is a Crayola Pip Squeak. I bought these because of the name. I just thought it was adorable. See how little it is? And that's a pretty color. It's pretty. All right. So whether you're using Pip Squeaks or watercolor, whatever, it's okay. So I will say this now that all this is dried. See the this one and this one was the Michaels brand, and see how it kind of left the scratchy mark on the paper, and the Neo color did not. What here, let me tell you this tip because I really might forget to tell you this. Tony, I found these little rascals at the grocery store. That's where I find a lot of my these Crayola Super Tips. You can use these for lettering. You're going to be able to use them in your journaling. So I want to show y'all a tip because I might forget to tell you. So for those of you who have the Artist Loft, let me show you something. Oh, and I don't have water. All right, we're going to go with it. Hang on. I know we got to go because lunch is over, but hang on just a second. Don't leave me yet. All right, I want to show you something. I'm just going to empty out this water. So if you have this brand and you're concerned about the scratch marks, I don't know if scratch mark is the right thing, get some water and wet it. I'm having trouble finding anything. Oh, here it is. Here's my saucer. And then get a non-porous surface. I like a saucer. So wet your thing, wet your crayon, and make it liquid on the saucer. Otherwise, if you draw it on the paper, it's most likely going to dig into your paper. It just is. Watch. Let me hold it up so you see it. So these are both the same color. This is where I scribbled directly on it and added water. This is where I wet my crayon, scribbled on my saucer, and used that liquid pigment and put it there. Yes, I have a sour cream lid at my other table that I use for that. So y'all, if you didn't see Karen's comment, she sometimes marks on a plastic lid, then wet it and use it. Yes. And I like the sour cream lids that have a little bit of rough texture to mark on it and then wet it. So whatever you have, I feel confident that together we're going to figure it out how to make it work. Constant. We're going to be able to do it. And then I might not, we've got a ton of creative people here, and we'll share tips and ideas. And what is that last pen you just used called? Okay, the last pen is called the Crayola Pip Squeak. It's adorable. Crayola, washable, and any of them will work, but it's Crayola washable. That's what you're looking for. If it says washable, then you're going to be able to treat it like a watercolor. And it's a pretty color. And the answer to your question about the Artist Loft, does anybody have Artist Loft watercolors, pencils that you could comment on it? I'm not able to see mine. Hang on, because I know I've got one. I think that they do activate well. Their colors are not as vibrant. I thought I had one that I could show you, but I don't see it. Okay, I do want to show you this though. All right, so remember, it's like your friends, and you have to remember what your purpose is for what it is you want them to do. So remember me telling you that I collect things in that color. I just like it. And this is a Prisma. This is Prisma brand. And so it's more of a higher end, beautiful colors. But they're not as vibrant as some of the others, but they're not meant to be. They're not meant to be. So just think on that. Would that Crayola pen work on coloring on t-shirts? Well, Tony, I don't. Well, if you used it on a t-shirt and you wash the t-shirt, it's going to come out because it's water soluble. It's washable, which for kids, that's how you want it. But is that what you mean? Whoops. I was going to show you that one, but I don't have a good pencil. But so if you're watching on the replay, or you think of something else that you have a question about, if you'll put it in the comments under this video, then I'll be checking back. Or if you are watching me from the Facebook group, so for those of you who signed up to do the workshop, we've got a private Facebook group over there. So be sure and request access to that. If you have not signed up, if you're watching and you didn't know about the workshop, it starts next Thursday, and I would love for you to join us. I think it's going to be really special, and it's only $15 right now. It will go up to $27, I think. So I want to encourage you to join us. And then if you've been watching and thinking about the Creative Heart Studio and wondering what it's about, we're going to be closing the doors to that on the 8th. So go ahead and prayerfully consider joining us. All right. Okay. Well, y'all, I hope you have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend. Did you cover your Post-its? I use the Post-its, Karen, to write little notes on my pages. Thank you for making sure. Thank you for looking out for me. I think I used it on this. Yeah. So originally I was going to use this book page and put it in my Great Exchange section, but then I noticed the date and decided I want to hang on to this and make something for my sister. So I put it on a Post-it note and I put it in that section, whether I give her this notebook or whatever. Yeah, I want to help you be able to, I want you to know how to use what you have. And then when you do buy something, I want you to be able to buy what it is you need. And yeah, and not be like me and have so many supplies that I don't use them. So, all right, girls, y'all have a good day. And thank y'all for being here and joining me for lunch. And for those who watch on the replay, thank you for being here. Just, you can put that little hashtag replay and let me know you dropped by. All right. I'll see y'all soon. Bye-bye.